Hey guys, Bonding here. So I just quickly want to put together a couple of thoughts about the upcoming PTS change. It's not final, and we're giving feedback, and this is my version of feedback, purely focused around the sorcerer class in this video, and focused around the AoE build and the changes to this build. So this is the summary, this is the patch note. I'm quickly going to touch on a couple of indirect changes. Sleight of hand rework, it used to be PvE only tactic, reducing aggro, now it's reducing all cooldowns. What this does for AoE sorc is that it makes this build where we have frontal dot into shotgun, into full disastrous cascade, into frontal dot, into, you guessed it right, shotgun, into full disastrous cascade. So that's going to be the new builds. Personally, I disagree with the approach of going away from more up and down, playing with the mechanic, using the spenders. There's only really two spenders in the game. One is a morale single target finisher that now has capabilities of a tactic to lifesteal for the one-on-one play. That's cool. The other one is the AoE spender. And with this rotation, we seem to be going away even further from including spenders on the sorc mechanic. Maybe that's just the direction the game is going. I personally disagree with it, but this is making for a very nice rotation. It's coming at the cost of sleight of hand taking a tactic slot. You do have room for it. It is a flavor pick, and it's making a dead tactic into a potential top 4 candidate for one of your very contested 4 slots. That's great overall, hitting all the check marks. I would have liked to see the game doing more with the spenders and the mechanic, but this is a great rotation. This is great for sorc. Fun facts: reducing everything by 2 seconds also affects morales. So instead of being 60 seconds, it's 58. So morales, granted abilities, and everything, less cooldown, even Book of Binding, I guess. So that's nice. All right, next on the list of changes, we have close quarters. This is mostly affecting Magus because of the last part of the tactic, and now affects abilities that do not have a target requirement. That would be placing a pet as an engineer, placing your turret, your lightning rod, any of these targets that don't require you to have a target will now cast faster. Okay, cool. Less setback is not really affecting Bright Result at all. I can't think of a single ability affecting Bright Result with setback, because you already have it on your Shield of Agrish, whatever it's called, roleplay name. Giving you the 50%, the less chance to be setback. And the cast time reduction is potentially affecting the new sorc if you're running a close quarters build with walking up and spamming SS, Shadowed Shadows, having less setback and faster cast times, or the new Black Horror ability. I mean, you can do this. This is potentially a nice change. It's helping a tactic that used to be meta on live with more damage when you're in close range, less damage when you are further away. Then it got changed into a PvE only tactic, and it never really got used in close range casting. Now this tactic is trying to help that by reducing the setback, which was one of the counters. Maybe this is going to help close quarters, close range casting. Maybe, maybe not. All right, potentially one of the biggest changes would be on the tactics. We have cruel reprisal tactic, and that's what I like about Return of Reckoning, that it's not completely mirrored. This is, to me, a soft mirror of Flashfire and Bright Result. It's trying to tackle the same issue, but differently. I'm not going to touch too much on Flashfire, but I'm going to compare it once in a while during this. So anytime you are defended, not just disrupted, but defended. So block and disrupt are both in play here. I think that's important to highlight. You will deal a little blah 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 damage formula, and it's going to be corporeal damage. Corporeal damage means that this can be debuffed by Black Orc with Warg. It can be debuffed by DPS Zealot with Puke. Tactic on demand. Corporeal damage AoE. So there's some synergies there. It cannot occur more than once every 2 seconds. That's probably okay. Okay, so what does this mean in terms of gameplay? It means that whenever you are in there and you're cleaving as an AoE sorc, either from range or signal targeting even, or close range bombing, whenever you get defended against, you still apply some pressure. That's basically how I would label this tactic, that it's a more of an instead of tactic. Instead of dealing damage, you're getting defended, but then you deal this damage instead of. So it's not adding damage on top of your old build, it's dealing some filler damage when you would normally deal no damage. It's a tactic, so it's coming instead of one of your old usual abilities, tactics, sorry. And that's probably everything I have to say about this. It could have been done differently, that this adds a debuff on the target whenever you do get defended, and then next time you hit the target, you cash in on that debuff and trigger it to deal some damage. That would create more burst. Layering two abilities, when you got the defended once, you would then add the debuff, and then next time you hit the target, if you don't get defended again, you would cash in on your old ability that was getting defended. It would create more burst, but this version we have right now is adding more consistent damage. Like, you're going in, you're getting defended against, and then you're dealing this damage instead of. So, I mean, that helps some of the sorc issue, and I think that's the biggest change I was hoping to see, is how is sorc gonna deal with strikethrough. Are they gonna get flashfire? Are they gonna get something different? And they got something different. Alright, now we come down to some single target changes to sorc. I'm not gonna cover that too much. Maybe I shouldn't at all, but anyways, Darwin, I mean, this is single target, solo roaming, whatever, sustain, cool. This is like more ranked 6 versus 6 scenario play, like you don't have the debuff on your focus, and it deals more damage, and whatever changes overall are happening to the focus ability on sorc, that's cool. This one, I might be one of the only sorcs in the game that plays with the Mastery M4 in my AoE close range build. This is basically a no escape that we know it from Knight M3 on Order. You have the same version on Destro, but it's requiring a Mastery ability. It's not on a frontline class necessarily as the Knight. However, it's still a decent and nice M4 in my opinion. What sorc is gaining here is you get a mini. Where was it? That is. You get a mini no escape on your standard brute. It comes at the cost of a tactic, so opportunity cost is again a factor here. It has flat damage, it has damage scaling, it's spirit damage, so it's getting mitigated by spirit and the usual shebang of abilities. It doesn't break whenever the enemy takes damage, so that's the no escape part. But it has the duration reduced to by 2 seconds. It's increased up from 4 targets to 6 targets. Also, if you're starting the tactic compared to not starting it, I can't imagine many sorcs actually running this. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Maybe I'm out of the loop with what other people are playing. I'm personally intrigued by this. I like no escape. I like root as an ability in very controlled environments. I think it has its place. At the cost of a tactic slot, maybe not. But again, we're taking a dead tactic and kind of making it into a potential contender on top 6 over AoE sorc tactics, maybe even further down the list. I'm personally intrigued by this. Maybe it's going to be bad. I will say this though, that whenever you have it slotted, so this one, no. Grip of Fear, here, that's Frozen by Fear. Whenever you press it, it doesn't seem to have the ability to crit. It always deals the damage, and since we are on a crit class, for this to be more potent, maybe it needs to have the chance to crit. I can't imagine that being overpowered. It is what it is. What I will say in extension of this is that on the Destruction Realm, we do have the God forbid it chopper pool that everyone hates to complain about. Either it's giving free immunities, or it's pulling you in, or it's bugging you out, and whatever. Destress Realm for large scale have way more use of the immunity for pull and root to be open. And it's more claimed by the choppers. So having this root ability, maybe it does absolutely zero in pocket environments. You need to be in there first on a sorc and claiming this immunity and using it before the choppers come in and does it. I'm going to play a little clip here of when I was in Land of the Dead. I have the M4 ability available in this clip. This is a stalemate. We have been grinding M4s, both sides are unloading, and I'm doing my M4 root ability here. Is it a game changer? Probably not. It's like extra damage. It's rooting some people in place to set up a kill zone, and that's the whole mindset of root. Either you use it defensively to create distance, or you're using it to set up a kill zone. Realistically, any targets I'm rooting, would the choppers just not have pulled them in and killed them? Probably. Okay, so Black Horror used to be an ability that you didn't pick up, and now that you do, great. I mean, it basically creates this build of you can stand from range and spam, and the damage is respectable, and it's an alternative to Shattered Shadows as the same cost, but at the same range. But this one, Black Horror, now, well, it always had the initiative debuff, but now it does again. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, because any debuff helps everyone. Like, all DPS hitting the targets have higher chance to crit the target when the target is any debuffed. That's great. Since this is a crit-reliant class, with class mechanic of crit chance and crit damage, you help yourself escalate into even higher crit chance. Great overall, like, I can't disagree with it. But an alternative would be to help the distro with getting more strikethrough. And I think now we go into the helicopter and look in bird's view of the game more. I think the main issue sorc had, and I hoped every sorc would get fixed or addressed a little bit in this patch, was strikethrough. And destro as a whole don't have a ranged build that has access to pierce defense, which is a tactic that reduces chance to block and chance to defend. Order has two classes with access to this on two AoE builds from range. So in a funnel fort situation, you technically have two classes on Order that can debuff a funnel, hold the line stack by ranged attacking, get defended, and then debuff the targets. Destro don't have access to that. They only have it on the squeaky on single target or in the melee form. So Destro needs to go in and commit to get this effect. I think I'm one of the only people that thinks of this as an issue, so maybe it's not an issue. This is a me issue. But I still think that this ability, any debuffing, could maybe be turned into like 3 to 5% strike through for maybe flat, or if that's too overpowered or too strong, then it turns into a less chance to disrupt debuff on the targets. Now for potentially the biggest one, where I maybe disagree with the direction, but this M3 ability, the Dark Star Cloak, has been reworked into a strong defensive and potentially offensive tool, depending on the situation you want to use it. So let's look at it in game. So it's going to be a Morale 3 ability. It's going to, for 10 seconds, make all damage you take be reduced by 50% and reduce your cooldowns of all abilities by 10 seconds. Your standard ability, everything except your shotgun in Infernal Wave, which is hard capped at 5 seconds still. I know this is controversial. I know this is dangerous road to walk down. But in the grand scheme of everything, with Shatter M2 taken out of the game on this patch, I think maybe we need to revisit if Infernal Wave should be reduced to 0 seconds cooldown when you have this M3 up. Maybe there needs to be some synergy coded there between Infernal Wave is hard capped at 5 seconds, unless you have your M3 up, then it can go down to 0 seconds again. What you hit me for? 79. Okay, so if I press the M3 now without you having aggro, and 40. Wait, oh, fuck.
Okay.
So this stacks?